afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olsen, the Tolkien Professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who, next to Gimli, is contemplating what has finally occurred, our sudden but inevitable betrayal by the dwarves of Mordor. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, sorry. I hope that everyone will recover from the shock of my starting on time. But here we are. It's just that I haven't been here for several weeks, and I miss you guys, and I won't be here next week either because I'm traveling to California. So that's just the way it is. But I'm here this week, so we're going to maximize our time this week because, well, should I be so rash? No, I'll say it. Today, I'm going to try to see if we can finish Dor Amarth. I think we might be able to wrap it up today. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to promise because it involves, like, mountaineering in the lava pits, which is going to be really annoying because I have received information that they are concealing some of the soot-smudged pages, which is the most important quest that Gryfflet is going on in every area of Mordor, down, like, on the foothills of Mount Doom in the middle of the rubble and horror. So, that's not great. But let us see if we can deal with... Boy, I still just laugh at this fortress. Like, the spiky bits are so perfunctory here. Like, we just, let's just add a few of them, and then let's pretty much leave the rest of it. It's fine. Anyway. All right, Gimli, you keep contemplating. I'm going to talk with Spakorth, So, Spakorth, let me tell you. I thought it was going to be you personally who would betray us. So the fact that you were a victim of the betrayal and didn't perpetrate it is, in a sense, good news.
Enough of this standing around.
I am ashamed that I could not resist Zôreth. I am ashamed that I could not even sense her deception, that she could spy upon the stout axes through my very eyes and work our ruin. I have failed you and I have failed Gimli. Leave me if you wish. It is the fate I deserve. Spakorth notices that you make no effort to leave and smiles weakly. What sort of dwarf is so easily swayed by the power of evil? I suppose that is a foolish question to ask now. Zôreth may have planned to use me in her search for the Rings of Power, but now King Váskmun has forsaken us all for Manthreif. If this is the way of the Firehorns, I want no part of it. Okay. Ooh. I get boots! Oh, what a splendid beginning to the day. Let's see, I want these ones, right? Expeditionary boots? Yeah. These are just the ones I want. Okay, alright, hang on a second, Spakorth. I gotta inspect. Well, first of all, are these boots actually an upgrade? They are. So let me equip them cosmetically first. Okay, now I've got my expeditionary boots on. And now I will also actually equip them. Okay. Good. So now I've got still have my helmet at the reclaimed city. Why do they keep giving me no helmet? Expeditionary camels, invader's heavy cloak, expeditionary hauberk. Yeah, my expeditionary boots and invader's pants and expeditionary gloves. So I'm doing pretty well. It's the hat. What do they have against hats?
Our fortunes are lost and our people broken.
Wait a second. I just had a theory. What if the fact that they don't give helmets as quest rewards is why Anarion died? Man, I think I'm onto something, right? Because Anarion in the War of the Last Alliance dies because a stone comes and crushes his head. Clearly because they just refused to give out helmets as quest rewards in Moria. I think I've solved an age-old riddle. Okay. Gimli has not turned his eyes from the spire since we were cast out, Gryfflet. I wonder, does he truly believe a share of the blame is his? In truth, the blame lies with Váskmun, Zôreth, and Sauron himself. By Sauron's own hand, Váskmun was corrupted by the ring, and he is now bound to it by pride and greed, as the Nazgûl were to their own rings. Gimli is a fine dwarf, and he has done my people no ill. He must not believe that his efforts to aid us were the cause of such sorrow. It was Váskmun and his firehorns. As he commanded, the spire is now called the Oath-taker's Horn. What oath has been taken, I ask? An oath to bring ruin upon our people? Váskmun may as well consider it fulfilled, then. Spakorth snorts indignantly. Now, what do we have over here? Over there, I mean. Do you see the two of them by the statue of Sauron? Well, they're certainly not dwarves. Could they be allies of yours? Oh, strangers visiting, huh? No, I think Gimli's not just over here in... That is not a posture of, like, guilt and remorse. He's tracking something here. Anyway, where are the... Down here? Oh, by the statue of Sauron. That one. Yeah, I somehow overlooked that. Let's see. Megorl and Dernith. You have found two elves standing beneath the statue of Sauron. Hey there. I was just going to do something. I'm forgetting what it was. Oh, yeah. No, oh, that's right. I was just thinking, wait, I should check the epic quest line. But the epic quest line I got, that's the one where it bifurcates, right? I just got the one that sends me to either... Where'd it go? Black Book of... Yeah. Oh, it's under the, of course. The Black Book of Mordor. Right, yeah, the Valley of Webs or the Dreadlands. Right, the Dreadlands is just complete the next few chapters. And the Gurzul, yeah. So, and I'm going to do the Valley of Webs next, obviously, because it's next, 3.2. Okay, just confirming that. So look at this. Unlike in Udûn, I am, like, already done with the epic quest line. Cool. All right, Megoril. What business do you have in these lands, hobbit? Did you travel hither with a host of men, or is this land your home? Speak at once, or my spear will be swift. Dude. Did you not hear I said speak? Well, looks like you're not really letting me get a word in edgewise here. Why have you come here? You introduce yourself to Megoril, and tell her of your journeys with the host of the West, and of your efforts to ensure the success of the Ringbearer's quest and the downfall of Sauron the enemy. By presenting my entire CV. You also tell Megoril of the dwarves of Mordor and their efforts to find the lost dwarf rings in Sauron's hordes. Very well, Gryfflet. I am Megoril of Lindon, and my companion is Dernith. We are among the last remnants of the Great Alliance in this realm, and it brought us joy and relief to learn that Sauron had truly fallen. Death has always eluded the Dark Lord, but I have heard that his ring is gone, and his essence diminished to naught. Well, near naught. Not quite naught. Next to naught. Can we say that? Yeah, his essence is diminished to next to naught, is how I would describe it there, Megoril, but it's okay. I know not why any would seek the dwarf rings or any other artifact that was wrought through Sauron's corruption, for now the evils he has done to the peoples of Middle-earth might now begin to heal at last. I never thought I would look upon the plains of Golgoroth again, but fate has brought me hither once more. You see, Dernith and I have returned to this land in search of our lost friend and kin, Theleron. During what is now called the War of the Last Alliance, our friend was taken by the enemy and borne into Mordor on the back of one of his winged fell beasts. Our efforts to rescue Theleron, before he was taken beyond the Morannon, failed, and in so doing we nearly lost another of Gil-galad's favored warriors to the corruption of Morgul steel. Even after Sauron fell at the end of the Second Age, we could not find Theleron in Mordor. He was hidden somewhere beyond our sight, and the enemy's forces still remained to harry us, as few as they were after the war. Thus our search begins anew. If Theleron lives still, we shall find him. Dernith has been attempting to learn what the spirits residing in these watching stones have seen, that they might unwittingly aid us, but none have answered our challenges, other than this one. Dirnaith beheld a terrible form rise from this statue of Sauron, and it spoke to him, warning he would share the fates of the damned in the Mordath. I have never known such a place in Mordor, but in the language of the elves it means black pit. Indeed, this has given us much to consider. Perhaps Dirnaith might know the fates of the dwarf rings you spoke of. That was a lot. I like it. Okay. Wait a second. Isn't there an Aiglos quest line that I haven't done? Is this it? I kind of think it might be it. Right? Look at this Sulak. It's like, sorry, am I in an inconvenient enough position now? Yeah, Moria is Black Pit. That is correct. What was she saying means Black Pit? I'm forgetting now the Elvish word that they were quoting. It is, of course, very possible that there's more than one way to say Black Pit. Moria is the Mor, of course, is black, for like Mordor and Morgul, right? So that's, but the ia ending suggests that it's, yes, you can just trample me. Boy, okay. Anyway, Dirnaith, Spear of Linden. I like that title. I am still recovering from my encounter with one of the enemy's fell spirits, and my will is exhausted. Allow me a moment, Hobbit, and we shall speak. Dirnaith takes a moment to steady himself. If Megaril had not wished us to speak, you would not stand where you are now. What is it you want? You tell Dirnaith that Megaril mentioned the fell spirit that inhabited the Watching Stone, and that she and Dirnaith had come in search of an elf called Theleron. You also mention the dwarf rings and ask if Dirnaith knows any of their history beyond when they were first granted to the dwarf kingdoms by Sauron. Indeed, we have come in search of our companion, Theleron. It is a quest of our own, and one given to us long ago by the High King of my people, before he was slain by Sauron. As for the fell spirit, the one that rose from the statue looked a shade of Sauron himself, but a weaker and less wicked in form. It was an echo of Sauron's sorcery, an echo of the Dark Lord, a glamour. This glamour told me of the Mordath. Yeah, okay, Mordath. Okay, right, that's the word. So Mor, right, you still have black there, so that tracks. I wonder, now I don't know, like, off the top of my head, the endings. So you've got the Moria and Mordath. If I had to guess, I would guess that the interpretation of Moria as Black Pit is more poetical, like a more poetical translation of what the what the Sindarin word literally means. Whereas I would guess that Mordath, which is a word that that like Chris Pearson has invented, the Lojo developers have invented, formed from Sindarin, is probably more literal. That would be my guess, as to why we have like two similar but non-identical Elvish Sindarin words, which are both being translated in the same way. But that would be my guess, that the Dath portion of that word probably means something more literally like pit or chasm or something like that. Whereas I'm trying to remember, and I'm not remembering off the top of my head, what the IA ending in Moria is doing. But I suspect that it's, again, that the translation, the Black Pit, the English / Westron translation, the Black Pit, is a more poetical rendering of the original. That would be my guess as to why, as to the explanation of that apparent inconsistency. Anyway, sorry. This glamour told me of the Mordath, a black pit beneath Barad-dûr, where the damned are imprisoned, and it also told me to leave these lands or I would join the forgotten in the depths of the black pits and never again find my way from Mordor. I do not heed the warning of such spirits, but these tidings are both good and ill. If Theleron lives, he may have been taken into the black pits. Thus we would have never found him when last we destroyed Barad-dûr. He was hidden away, far beneath the scorched lands of Mordor, left to pass an age in silence and darkness, and bearing whatever tortures the Dark Lord devised for him. To answer your questions of the dwarf rings, I have heard a few tales and rumors of them, but little else. As I have heard it told, they did not work as Sauron had planned. The dwarf rings granted might and luck, as well as some manner of concealment, but they did not corrupt the dwarves. That's really interesting. That they granted luck. I disagree. It's a reference to The Hobbit, of course. Right? Or at least it's a reference that has its roots in The Hobbit. Bilbo calls himself Luck-wearer, right? He's not referring to the ring there. He believes his luck is his own. But the interpretation within the game here, or at least the interpretation of Dirnaith, the elf, the Spear of Linden, is that it granted luck. And I certainly don't think that that is Tolkien's intention in The Hobbit, that the ring brought luck. What brought luck was providence, right? What Bilbo took for luck, as Gandalf points to in the very last paragraphs of The Hobbit, is a far bigger plan that is much bigger than he, and in which he was only playing one part, right? And of course, that is what then Gandalf kind of dilates on in the Shadow of the Past, right? When he talks about how Bilbo put his hand on the ring by pure luck, or it seemed like pure luck, but Gandalf, of course, insists that there was more than one power at work that day, right? So Bilbo's luck is, in fact, the providence of Ilúvatar working in his life, not a product of the ring, certainly. In fact, the opposite, right? At least that's my reading of especially The Hobbit. But again, I think you can see Tolkien building on that idea still in The Lord of the Rings. Anyway, okay, sorry. The rings. Okay, yeah, right. Some manner of concealment. Probably not the dwarf rings, but that's okay. But they did not corrupt the dwarves into servants of the Dark Lord as the rings of men did. Instead, the dwarf rings brought forth a powerful and insatiable greed from deep within the minds of the dwarf kings, a greed that bred in them a compulsion to seek wealth by any means and to hoard it in their vast halls. That tracks. Ah, but other creatures were as fond of gold as the dwarves, and so for some of the dwarf kingdoms, the rings brought them to ruin. I am afraid that is all I know of them, and so I believe it is time that Megaril and I resume our search and seek out the Mordath. Your allies here seem to have great need of you. If our paths cross again, Megaril and I shall stand at your side. Well, I happen to have, already toured the Black Pits rather extensively, but you don't want my help, so it's fine. You guys keep doing your ancient thing. It is really fun. It's one of the things that is such a delightful opportunity in the game to bring in characters like this. Be like, oh, yeah, random survivors of the Battle of the Last Alliance, of whom there would be some, right? I mean, we meet one or two of them in The Lord of the Rings. There would obviously be more. And, of course, they would come back, right? This idea that there would be some elves, some survivors of the War of the Last Alliance who are still in Middle-earth and who still felt whatever kind of unfinished business, right, that they now wanted to take the opportunity to finish. Love that concept. Okay. All right, Gimli, what are you looking at? That was a strange intervention in this quest line. I don't think I can wholly... I mean, it's fine under the circumstances, but I don't think I can wholly approve in the sense that in order to get to that other quest line with the elves, we have to, get... This is really, really deep in the, in the Stout Axe quest line here. But anyway, I mean, I don't mind because I'm being a completionist, but... So, Geralt asks if the elves stay, they die, though, right? No, they don't die. They would diminish, right? They will fade over time. This is a complicated idea. By the way, literally, at first, when Tolkien was talking or thinking about this, at first, like way back in the 19-teens, way before he wrote The Lord of the Rings, way before he wrote The Hobbit, he was actually literally thinking of diminishing, like that they would become like Tinkerbell, basically. And that was originally a sort of a play because when Tolkien was growing up, right, in the early 20th century, fairies were very popular in England, right? Everybody talked about fairies. But the fairies that they talked about, the fairies of like the English imagination of the early 20th century, were all like little Tinkerbell type fairies, right? Little tiny fairies that like hid in bluebells and like, you know, like that's teensy, cutesy little fairies. And Tolkien kind of hated the cutesy little fairies. And he wanted to write stories about elves, elf and fairy, or those are synonyms. He wanted to write story about fairies that were more like the medieval fairies. Great, grand, beautiful, kind of terrifying, generally good, but in a way that sometimes doesn't look good to humans because they're just different. So he liked those elf stories. And so he said, I'm going to bring them back. And it's one of the most profound ways in which Tolkien has succeeded so completely that we don't even notice anymore, right? That now when you ask anybody in the modern world, like, what does an elf look like? They describe something that's quite like Tolkien's elves, or one of the other elves that are derived from Tolkien's elves. Tolkien's resurrection of the medieval tradition of elves and fairies has totally overtaken, so that now if you get somebody like Tinkerbell, as for instance Tinkerbell in Disney movies, right, it's an exception, it's an aberration, right? And now it has kind of created a split. Now modern people think of elves as Tolkien's elves, and they think of fairies as something totally different as Tinkerbells. They don't even realize that those two things were synonyms. Anyway, in his original concept, he was kind of trying to merge the two. He was saying, like, I'm going to tell stories of the ancient elves, back when elves were elves, right? That is, the old school elves. But then he kind of wanted to stitch it together with the modern traditions and be like, well, okay, so how do we get here? How did we get to the place where we are in the 20th century, where people all think that elves are, you know, tiny little fairy creatures? Answer, they diminished over time, the elves. So elves who remain in Middle-earth would have been doomed to become weaker, fainter, and smaller, literally, until they were little bitty things that could hide in bluebells. That was the original concept. Later on, he was like, forget it. Forget it. I don't even care. I'm not even gonna give an origin story to the teensy fairies. Forget the teensy fairies, right? Yeah, actually, Edith, the Keebler elves are a memory of the sort of fairy. Though they're kind of like, the Keebler elves are kind of like Tinkerbell meets Santa Claus, essentially, right? Like the elves as like, you know, toy builders, except they're cookie builders, right? But they hide in trees, and yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of thing that they're appealing to there. Anyway, okay, so later on, Tolkien diminished, like physically diminished, become smaller, to just fading. So he did say that they would become eventually invisible, like they would lose their bodies, and just become essentially sort of disembodied spirits that remained here. So, and that still appeals. So if you read some of his early poetry, for instance, I would particularly recommend Cortirion Among the Trees, which you can find published in The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, for instance. That's an early poem, that's a revision of an earlier poem, but that he wrote in like 1914, 1916, maybe. But anyway, it's a poem that recalls a lot of Tolkien's early poetically expressed convictions of like an awareness of the presence of the elves and the memory of the elves in England. And that would be because there are still elves around. They're just invisible. They've faded, right? So anyway, that's what's going to happen to them if they stick around eventually. But they're still a ways from that. They've already faded. They're lesser than they were. They're not, I mean, they're not as great as they were at the War of the Last Alliance. But still, they've got a lot of fading to do yet. But there's a lot of time between here and our modern time. Okay. Sorry, but I'm interrupting Gimli. Gimli appears to be muttering to himself as you approach. You gently place your hand on his shoulder, but his gaze remains fixed on the spire. I have made more than a few great mistakes in my time, Gryfflet, but as any fine dwarf would, and as I always have, I put them to rights. The tortures Sauron brought upon Váskmun might not be undone, but there is still a goodness in these dwarves, a fair few of them anyway. To sulk here wishing a different fate for the stout axes, that is not the way of a dwarf. The ring he seeks, this Manthrith, it shall not free him from his delusion and greed. I say Váskmun must be convinced of his folly, or he must be brought low. Okay. This is not a simple matter as it was with the Dour Hands. These Firehorns are not cruel or evil in their hearts, but the promise of a dwarf ring's power has begun to chip away at their good sense. You and I saw what the ring did to Frodo. Even in the short span of months he bore it, before our paths were forced apart. If Váskmun was forced to wear it in the dungeons of Barad-dûr during his imprisonment, and then deprived of its power by Sauron, his mind may have withered into an obsession. Although being a dwarf, I think he may have fared a bit better than Gollum. Gryfflet, I do not wish to raise arms against Váskmun and his folk if it can be helped. Váskmun may not allow us inside the Oath-taker's horn, but that does not mean we cannot come to the doors of the spire. Go to the hidden gate of the Oath-taker's horn and summon the Firehorns. Deliver them an invitation for King Greytooth to meet us upon the field. When that is done, we shall speak of peace and of having some better dwarf sense. So we're going to invite them out for a parley, huh? Okay. Hey, wait a second. I see... Oh, I still haven't escaped Barad-dûr, have I? Alright. I need to mop up some of those things, but let me just pursue this here, since we're here. I think I go around this way. I can go around either way, as I recall, to get to this secret door. Oh, wait a second. Doesn't want me to go to the secret door. Just wants me to go straight up to the front door. He said the secret door. Got the hidden gate. He's in the hidden gate. Can I do this? No. Okay. It's just that the hidden gate looks like it's right here on the map because it's okay. Okay, fine. No problem. All right. Oh, that's interesting, JJ. JJ says in The Legend of Zelda, they kind of do both. You have the teeny fairies, and then you also have the great fairies. Yeah, that's interesting. See, again, like, Tolkien's imagination of the elves, like his concept of the elves, now totally dominates. Totally dominates the modern imagination and really defines the word elf in particular. But the concept of fairy the teeny fairies have not died, and Disney has, done a great deal to keep that alive through Tinkerbell. you know, the I'm not going to go up these stairs on my warhorse. But yeah. So that's it's interesting that I would point out that it's one of the sort of unexpected things. I doubt that Tolkien suspected that one of the side effects of his enormously successful reinvention of the elves for the modern imagination would be that he would basically not quite kill the word fairy, but he would sort of destroy in the modern imagination the fact that elf and fairy are synonyms. Like, that's, yeah. Okay, Gimli, shall we give it a shot? No, huh? Oh, now I have to go back around to the main gate. The good thing that's not irritating. Yeah. Yes, it's true. I know that there seems to be a certain amount of agitation about the whole 64-bit server thing. I don't even really know what's going on there. I don't work for Standing Stone. Haven't the faintest idea what it, I've heard of the 64-bit servers. I vaguely know that there's a problem, but I'm absolutely going to be no help whatsoever. So I encourage you to stay and watch the stream if you are interested in Lotro and Tolkien lore and the Lotro story. But if you are seeking more information about the server situation, I absolutely cannot help you. Okay. Let's... Ooh, hang on a second. Before I forget to do anything else, I just noticed I'm getting close to another level. Let's not do that. Let's see. This is my... Oh, yeah. This is my tortoise stone. Oh, man. I missed that +12 Light of Eärendil. But, you know, it is what it is. JJ wants to know when Sigma's going to start developing the Muppet Lord of the Rings online. I don't know. I mean, you know, we're in the early stages of what seems inescapably to lead in that direction. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is the long way. Let me... Oh, hey, look, I never got my Hobbit presents today. Some hope tokens. Craft boost. Nice. Okay. Ah! Okay, that's fine. Thought I was going to fall into a cliff or into a pit there, but it wasn't too bad. All right. Yeah, JJ's referring to the fact that at Sunshine Moot, our Orlando Moot that we just had a week and a half ago, we spent the day developing ideas for how we would do a Muppet Lord of the Rings adaptation, and it was really fun. We cast Gonzo as Gandalf, just in case you're curious. Okay, let us dismount. And yeah, now there's a spin-off space module as well to continue that work. We had a pretty good story for our Muppet Lord of the Rings. Okay, here we go. You hear muffled trumpeting? You should not have come back, Gryfflet. There shall be no peace between us, neither now nor once the ring is found. We shall send Gimli a message of our own. Your head. Oh, come on now. That's just rude. Look, you know it's not going to go that way. Well, maybe you don't know me well enough for that. But, you know, the fact that I broke into Barad-dûr to rescue you kind of leads you to that conclusion. Alright, it's fine. So Gimli, that went about as well as might be expected. I assume he's back over here on his lookout post. Oh, I didn't think that goat would aggro on me. Oh, come with me, goat. Okay, Gimli, I've returned in the company of a demon goat. Ah, see, he's afraid of you. I thought he would be. Mike, does he want to mess with Gimli? I don't think he wants to mess with Gimli. Man, I didn't think about the shadow implications of freezing my XP again. That cup of sacrifice was kind of helpful. Oh well. The Firehorns did what? They attacked you and they threatened my folk? Gimli's face flushes with anger. Well, that settles it. The time for talk is ended. Our hand is forced. The dwarves of Mordor have been turned against themselves. Váskmun's treachery cannot go unanswered. We must stop the Firehorns from seeking the dwarf ring. No matter their supposed might, some fairly heirlooms are best forgotten, I think. It is not unlike the axe of Mithril, Zigilberg, of which you once spoke. If the search does not bring them to ruin, finding it will not change their fortunes. If the men of Mordor still desire the ring, they should not rest until it is recovered, whether it is by their own hands or taken from those foolish enough to wield it in Mordor. No matter where he leads them, Váskmun is putting his folk into great danger. The fool would lead his people into the fires of Mount Doom if he thought that the dwarf ring might be hidden there. These Firehorns are even worse than the Dour Hands we encountered in our adventures, my friend. At least I knew where I stood with the Dour Hands. Perhaps Legolas was right after all. It is decided, then. For the good of the dwarves of Mordor, we must storm the Oath-taker's horn. Okay. All right, well, I'm still not getting a hat out of this, but it's okay. All right. So I am... Hang on. I am aiding Spakorth. I'm aiding Gimli. And I'm aiding Gimli again. Okay. Let's do it. I'll start Gimli with aiding you once or twice. You surely saw, as I did, that some among the stout axes seemed unsettled by the king's command that we be cast from the spire. What will become of them? Shall they be met now with threats and curses? Perhaps they shall even be unfairly marked as traitors. I cannot speak for King Dan, but I would offer the stout axes a new home among my folk. We shall have need of hardy dwarves now that Sauron has fallen. If you find any who still name themselves stout axes in the Oath-taker's horn, aid them and offer them my promise that they shall find refuge in the halls of Durin's folk. That's right, he changed their name, right? It's all coming back to me. Aha! The Firehorns have sealed the hidden gate, but they have left their greatest weakness exposed. Don't you see? The lower gate is now the only passage into and out of the spire, and it leads to the very heart of their forges. Ruin their forges and break their weapons, and I dare say their search will be over before it begins. If the Firehorns discover you... Right, Firehorns is what he changed their name to. Do what you must. When the Dour Hands treated my folk as the Firehorns treat the stout axes now, I did not shy from battle. While you deal with that, I'll escort Spakorth into the spire. He has a mind to speak with King Greytooth, but I do not think it wise. Ah, well, I have my axe if talking won't do. Alright, so what am I meant to do here? Defeat smiths, destroy weapon racks, and douse forges. Okay. Alright, Spakorth, what's your plan?
Enough of this standing around.
At my request, Gimli has offered to escort me to Zôreth's chambers in the heights of the spire. We shall ask Váskmun to hear my counsel, even if he heeds not a single word of it. Indeed, the stout axes may still be free of the tyrants of Mordor, but Váskmun has become one of them, whether he believes it or not. I trust Gimli's axe shall keep me from harm, but I would ask that you seek Sverrsting, Dreri, Nath, and Freki as we storm the spire. If they have not already realized the king's folly, I would have you convince them to abandon the search for the dwarf rings and seek refuge among Durin's folk as Gimli has promised. As for Eitur, he may stand in our way, but he is a dwarf of words and little else. He has always sought to please those in power, and I think his loyalty now as false as it has ever been. If he stands in the way of the king, he must be defeated or exposed as the coward he is. Go, Gryfflet. Gimli and I shall follow you into the spire. Find Sverrsting. Okay. All right. Yet another round of dwarf quests it is. And off we shall go. See there, goat? Didn't mean you any harm. You just live and let live, you know? Alright. Back into the Flaming Spire. Which has really dominated the storyline of Dor Amarth. Surprisingly, since Barad-dûr is here, like I would have thought that we would be focused on Barad-dûr itself, and we've gone there, but tools of persuasion? Oh, what, like instruments of torture? Is that what we're talking about here? Oh, found Sverrsting. Maybe he will surrender. Oh, by the way, I should have warned you. It is possible that I will lose power at any second. I urge you not to fight to the death, man. Oh, well. Sorry about that, dude. It's possible I might lose power at any minute. So I have lost power. My power went out like half an hour before I started the just a bucket of water, huh? That ought to do the trick. Yeah. Oh, I doused the heck out of that forge. Yeah. Yeah. No. Massive pool of lava just can't stand up to a bucket of water. Okay. That'll teach him. Anyway, we're having a huge windstorm here today. And windstorm in New England equals power outages everywhere. So I lost power. I've got a generator, so I'm running off the generator. I'm fine. But when the power comes back on, should the power come back on during the course of my stream, then when the power switches back to town power, I'm going to lose power for like 20 seconds, which will be enough to kill my computer and the stream and everything else. So if I suddenly vanish, it's like good news. It means that power has been restored to my street. Anyway, should have warned you in advance. It hasn't happened yet, so that's fine. But Grumpy Bird, you lost power a few minutes yourself? Yeah. No, it's that kind of day today. My wife was just telling me that they lost power at her work and some poor person got stuck in the elevator as a consequence. So, yeah, it could be worse. All right, intimidated Stout Axe, I'm here for you. Offering freedom. How can the king not see? I know, it's okay. Don't worry. Go find Gimli. He will help. Oh, I've got to defeat a bunch of y'all anyway, right? The Forge Masters. No? I thought I did. Oh, Smiths. Not Masters. Okay. Fine. So, like, this guy. Right. There we go. This guy too. He's going to try to stop me from wielding one of my deadly buckets of water, but Oh, no good that is. Relic Masters. Okay, so this is just smiths, weapon racks, and forges. Okay. And this one is just the intimidated ones, and this is the captains. So I don't need Relic Masters at all. So this unfortunate dude is just in the way, and I don't have to kill him, but I'm gonna have to. Ooh, you spotted me. Well, that's not very nice. Okay. All right. Hey, man, stop intimidating that dude. It's okay. I'm offering you freedom. And now I'm going to douse that forge. Take that bucket of water. See, this is fairly efficient when you're what? What's the level on these quests? 109. Yeah, I'm 4 levels up and I don't want to be 5. Maybe when I get to the next area, the quests will shift up a little bit and I can unfreeze again for a little bit. Okay, we're making some progress here. I need 2 more smiths. I need 2 more forges. Oh man, keep hitting the wrong buttons. Okay. Let's see. There's a forge worker. There's another worker. I have no quarrel with the workers, just the smiths. Okay, that's all the smiths I need, but I think I'm going to have to... I'm sure there's going to be some others in the way. Alright, got the forges. Now it's just... intimidated stout axes. Well, I found 2 out of 8 there. And weapon racks, yeah, weapon racks. Such as it might be this one. I see them. My last 2. Almost done with this quest. Good, good. Just gonna stealth up and head to that one. All right. I've destroyed many forges, tools, and weapons vital to King Greytooth and the Firehorn's quest to seek the Dwarf Rings. It is possible that the Firehorns still possess a great deal of armor and weapons in their stores, but for the moment you have stopped them from forging new equipment. Gimli and Spakorth will be pleased, and yet insufficiently pleased, to give you a new hat. Okay. Dreary and Noth are probably upstairs. Were there any more intimidated folks down here? Yeah, there's one over here. Well, you're the one with the armor. Why are you the intimidated one? You should have been bouncing him off the ground. Okay. Alright, we will head upstairs, look for more intimidated folks, and try to talk some sense into Drarry and Noth. Alright. Nope. There you go, man. No problem. Okay, Noth was over here, right? Whoa. Come on, man. Tragically, Freki appears to have been slain by his own kin. Well, that is tragic. Alright. Who's this over here? Noth! Oh, Noth looks like he's been imprisoned. Let's start with this guy. Alright. Hey, Noth.
We endure as we always have. That is our way.
Firehorns, bah! These dwarfs are no kin of mine. Say what you will of her, at least Zôreth never chained us to the doors. You and Gimli have seen much beyond these lands, and if this is what my home has now become, I should like to follow where you go and leave this land behind. It is good to be out of these chains, my friend, but I cannot leave just yet. For the honor of my family and my fallen kin, I shall gather what remains of the stout axes and find them a place of rest in the low hills of Dor Amarth. Okay. Good plan, Noth. Spakorth will be pleased. Oh. Oh, there is an intimidated guy, but there's two other folks. Sorry, I was confused. I thought there were the two of them plus the targeting. Thank you. I thought there were the two of them plus the intimidated guy. And so then when I suddenly found myself being attacked by two guys, I thought the intimidated guy was turning on me. And I was like, well, that's an unexpected twist. Okay. There you go. I fended off the bullies. Yep, the king totally should have heeded Gimli's warning. Oh man, I pulled one of them. Targeting. Okay. It's my anti-penultimate intimidated stout axe. I think that Mistress Zôreth treated us better. Ah, for the days when we were only dominated by the evil spirit of one of Sauron's henchmen. Hey, Drarry. You're looking disconsolate over here. Can I help?
Have you a mind to aid my folk?
It was not supposed to be like this. Those who would not follow Váskmun were slain by Eithil and the others, and now all I have are these stones by which to remember them. What have we done? Where is the honor among my people? Whether Montrith holds any power or not, it has brought greater ruin upon our people than even Sauron could have devised. Gimli spoke true, and the truth came too late to save my kin. I shall join Gimli's folk, but first I must mourn my own. Okay. Don't let me interrupt you. I just have to confront Itur. Itur the toady. Okay, there's an intimidated dude over here, isn't there? I think I see that. Yep. No problem. Ow. So annoying when they spot me, like, a fraction of a second, like as I'm hitting the button. Oh, well. Okay, man. Yeah. Come on, look, man. You're just prolonging the inevitable here. Okay. So here, offering freedom to the penultimate intimidated dwarf. That means I've got one intimidated dude left. And that's the door I came up. So, where was that path upwards? Yeah, back here by Drarry. Alright, there he is. You have done well to free the stout axes from the Oath-taker's horn. It is likely that King Váskmun Greytooth will lead the Firehorns to ruin in his search for the dwarf rings. Instead, you have offered the few remaining stout axes a new chance at freedom among Durin's folk. And yet, you have not merited a new hat. Mithril rot lockbox, huh? Come back to steal the king's mithril, have you? I think not. Who's this? Oh, it's Itur. Great. Yeah, well, I was going to say, Drowsnake, like, burglar. The king leads his army across Dor Amarth even now. Ever the lick-spittle. What a great word that is. Itur's eagerness to forsake his allegiances brought him to a sorry end.
Long have we toiled, and for what?
What should have been a time of joy for my people has instead become a time of great sorrow. Sverresting was a fine dwarf, and I am saddened that he could not be made to see the madness of his king. As for Itur, he was just as swift to seek Zôreth's favor. He was naught but a lick-spittle, no matter his master. Such behavior does not befit any proud dwarf. Aside from Nath and Drarry, I saw only a handful of my people leave the spire for the western ruins. Poor Freki should have been among them, but Váskmun's petty firehorns raised their axes against him. He has put his own foolish greed before the needs of his people, and I shall never forgive him for that. Even so, I must speak to him at once. Where is he? So, my discontent with my head, it's not that I don't like my hat. It's just that it's the only piece missing from my new set. And I love to complete the new cosmetic sets from the local regions, but they keep withholding the hat. Like, come on. I'm almost done with Dor Amarth. I don't deserve a new. I'm going to start getting a new additional set before they even give. I'm still on like 2 hats back. It was no easy task, but I have brought Spakorth hither unharmed. Where is Váskmun? You tell Gimli and Spakorth that Váskmun has led an army of firehorns onto the plains of Dor Amarth. Why? I don't know. Where are they going? Who knows? Whom are they fighting? No idea. Gimli lets out an indignant snort, and Spakorth falls silent. Bah! We came all this way to stop his quest, and we haven't stopped a thing. Okay, now I'm going to take my silver ring, for which I am not ungrateful or anything. We are too late. I wish it had not come to this. Gimli sighs sorrowfully. These were fine dwarves, and they did not deserve such a sorry fate. Even after his downfall, Sauron has brought his ruin upon them. The ring twisted Váskmun's mind, and now his people share his obsession with wielding its power. Whatever remains of it, that is. Where now has Váskmun led them? To ruin, surely, but where in this blasted land does he now search for the dwarf ring? Wait a moment. Zôreth kept many notes in her own search for the rings, didn't she? We are here in her old chambers, so let us search for them. With all that has happened, I should say that they'll be of more use to us. Okay. Let's inspect her research. According to Zôreth's research, this page makes reference to passage within Barad-dûr, a passage that leads into the Mordath. This page makes notes of the key King Greytooth bore during his imprisonment. Okay. All right. More research. This page lists the names of the 7 dwarf rings, but 4 are marked with unsettling notes. Huh. This page speaks of a vault within the depths of the black pits of Mordath. All right.
How have we fallen so far?
What have you learned? I beg you, let me see those pages. You offer the pages of Zôreth's research to Spakorth, and he reads for a time. Upon reaching the notes about the terrible creatures beneath Barad-dûr, he pauses a moment. Boy, I didn't read that one. When at last he comes to the names of the 4 rings that bear Zôreth's marks, he seems at once stunned. What is this? And we're never to know what this is. Oh, I see. No, he's got another ring.
How have we fallen so far?
Have you read what I have, Gryfflet? Devoured. What sort of creature could have devoured 4 of the dwarf rings? Oh, no. Oh, no. No. Yes. Oh, dear. Okay. Okay. Surely Sauron would have slain them at once for such an offense. Sorry, let me explain my reaction. So, of course, it's well known what sort of creature could have devoured 4 of the dwarf rings, right? Gandalf mentions this twice in Chapter 2 of the Fellowship of the Ring, that dragonfire could destroy them, and the word consumed is used... Gandalf uses the word consumed. Said 4 of the dwarf rings the dragons have consumed. I think clearly what Gandalf was referring to was actually what seemed to be indirectly alluded to earlier on by in the conversation with the elves, when they were talking about how the greed for gold and the acquisition of treasure by the dwarves under the influence of the dwarf rings led to their downfall, because it attracted attention, undesirable attention, mostly from dragons. So there were lots of problems with dwarves and dragons back in the old days, as for instance the story of Scatha the Worm that we hear about a little bit. That's one example. And of course Smaug, obviously, is the modern example of that same exact sort of phenomenon. And that's sort of the Smaug and Erebor, and what happened at Erebor is the sort of prototype, right? Prototype in Tolkien's imagination, historically later than all of the rest of them, but this in Tolkien's imagination, the prototype for this phenomenon, for a dwarf king who had one of the 7 rings, thwarted, right, and built the great wealth of Erebor, and that wealth attracted the dragon. So the destruction of the 4 other dwarf rings that Gandalf considers to have been consumed or devoured by the dragons is an allusion back to the problems that dwarves have had with dragons over the years. This is making it sound like Sauron had a pet dragon in the Mordath that he used to like systematically feed dwarf rings to, like that he was using it as like a garbage disposal for the rings of power, which on the one hand, like, we know that Sauron put out a recall order on the 7 dwarf rings, that they didn't work out the way he wanted them to because they didn't lead to the domination of the spirits of the dwarves. They had bad effects, but not universally bad. They didn't bring about the result that he was looking for in their cases. So he put a recall order out and tried to collect them all back again. So if I'm understanding correctly, the implications being pointed to in the opening of Spakorth's speech here, the idea here in game is that Sauron had a dragon in the pit that he would feed them to get rid of them, right? Yeah. That's an odd story. If that's the story we're gonna get, I officially consider that story odd. Okay. Ah, yes, the key around the king's neck. Sauron gave Váskmun the key and deceived him into believing that the mithril lockbox was all that stood between him and reclaiming Monthry for his folk. It was likely never within, and who can say where it might be now? As Zôreth has written, the Order of the Eye has learned much of the Mordath through their expeditions in the deep dungeons of Barad-dûr. I thought they toiled for the return of the Dark Lord, but this vault she has written of, this is what must have drawn them into Barad-dûr. None but the Gûr-Zûr, the Deathless, may have ever known of such a vault, and what would be kept guarded and hidden so far beneath the earth? A great abyss has sunken into the Mordath, to the north of Barad-dûr, and the Order thinks it an omen that Sauron's secrets are to be laid bare for the most loyal of his servants. If there remains any chance of finding Monthry, King Váskmun shall lead the Firehorns into the abyss of Mordath. Patrol the mouth of the abyss and see if King Váskmun and the Firehorns have left any sign of their descent. For my part, I shall study more of Zôreth's research, with Gimli's protection, of course. Once I have finished, I will send him to meet you at the abyss, and I shall travel far away from this place. Okay. Look at that. See? I'm getting another hauberk before getting another hat. This is just what I'm talking about. So, the invader gear is the more recent. So the expeditionary stuff is my first wave of cosmetics in Mordor. It's like the Udûn stuff. And the invader stuff is the new stuff. But I just got expeditionary boots. I'm so confused. I'm telling you, local cosmetic sets have really fallen on hard times. Okay. Travel to the mouth of the abyss of Mordath. Okay. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to travel here. I got some other loose ends to tie up. And this is the end of one of my... Hello? Oh, there you go. Of one of my quest links anyway. I just want to make sure I don't need any follow-up here before I go back.
Do not make me regret this.
Seems you have found the Orog and survived. Your exploits thus far surprise me. Moreover, you have seen the abyss of Mordath. Indeed, that great chasm is a place of horror. I shudder to think what lives down there.
Oh, no. Please don't. Oh, good. Look, a heavy cloak. An expeditionary cloak. Didn't I just get a new cloak, though? Swift cloak at the back gate? Yeah. This one's inferior to it, but that's okay. I won't hold it against him. Hang on. Let's check it out. How's it look? Well, it matches better. But what's the point of matching when I'm just about to change my hauberk? I like the bread. Striking. Okay. And Ingold doesn't have any quests for me here. Camp Gimli doesn't have any quests for me here. Okay. Great. No problem. There aren't any other stable masters around here, are there? Okay. And I still need to complete the Wrath of Glurugolf, which just means going back in the door and coming back out again, I think. All right. Let us ride back across Dor Amarth. So, wait a second, Phil. You're telling me that the new hat I want is a random drop? That's horrible. That's terrible. See, I miss the days. My favorite stretch of local cosmetics was Dunland and Rohan. Rohan in particular. When you could get a new set, like a new set of barding for your... new set of barding for your war steed. In every region, right? That was so cool. And I've been faithfully trying to put on all the cosmetics of the local area, on the win in Rome principle, right? But ever since we got to Gondor, it's been so disappointing. I've been getting new cosmetic sets, but they all look just like the previous ones, and now in Mordor, it's all confused. It's just a mess. But that's okay. Let's talk about a lore question. So, a lore question that came up before. Let's see. Yes. In Minas Tirith, the Citadel Guards have helms made of mithril. Does that make them worth the equivalent of the Shire and everything in it, just from being made of mithril? Or was it the craftsmanship of Frodo's shirt that gave it its value? Great question. So, I doubt that the helmets of the guards in Minas Tirith are worth the value of the Shire and everything in it. Only because, A, they are only adorned with mithril. Not wholly composed of mithril. And two, yes, a lot of it has to do with the craftsmanship as well. The mithril coat that Frodo is given combines two separate things. It combines, on the one hand, can I make it around this young fire drake? Yes, I can. On the one hand, it combines the signature technology of the dwarves. That is to say, their chainmail, right? Dwarves invented chainmail. And so making armor of interlocking rings is a dwarf method, and others don't really do it. It's just the dwarves. But Bilbo's coat was a coat of interlocking rings that is made of mithril. So it combines the signature technology of the dwarves with the most precious material, most precious and effective material that a coat of armor could be made with. And so therefore, I do believe that it's this combination of things that makes Frodo's coat, Bilbo's coat, which he gives to Frodo, so very tremendously and remarkably valuable. But that's not to sneeze at the helmets of the guards in Minas Tirith. those would have been tremendously valuable because they have mithril on them. So your impulse, I think, is quite right. Your impulse to speculate that those helmets, would fetch a fair price on the open market, right? Absolutely true. The fact that Tolkien refers to them having mithril on them, I think, is clearly designed to convey to us how precious they are, that these are enormously valuable relics of the ancient days of Gondor, right? The fact that they're still in use is sort of a testimony to the dignity of Minas Tirith. I'm going in the front door so I can come back out again and finish that, because that keeps bothering me. That escape from Barad-dûr quest. So since I'm roaming about, I'm doing some of my loose end cleaning up here, and then I'll get up to the Abyss. Because you see, if I can clean this up, then that will be my only active quest line apart from the pages, which I'm going to let the other quest lines continue to see if they will bring me to soot-stained pages. And then once I have finished all the quest lines in this area, then I shall hunt down the last of the pages. And then I will be happy. Okay. Can he escape? What do I have to do to escape? What counts as escaping? Can anyone tell me how to escape this place? Do I have to go in a ways and then come back? Of course, this problem emerged because I like teleported out of here. I mithril coined out of here. And it didn't trigger whatever I have to trigger in order to count as escaping at the end of that quest line. Okay, so I gotta try to trigger it. Okay. Oh, the Cargles. I don't want to get close to them. Okay, so here I am. I'm back in here. Is there a physical spot I have to hit? Like what I was supposed to hit on the way out? Hi, guys. Do I have to be walking in this direction? Oh, I triggered it. Okay. All right. I didn't see any. I was expecting pop-up text. Okay, fine. Well, I'm not going to go back to Lômazar right now because I don't have to ride all the way back across Dor Amarth. But, good. Okay. All right. Loose and tied up. Yeah, there should have been pop-up text. I didn't see it. Did I just miss it? Did it happen while I was fighting the troll or something? Weird. Okay. But good. Good, good. So now I will go to the Abyss. Tempting as it is to go back to Lômazar and get rid of both of those quests, it would be time inefficient. Oh, I got the page that was out here. Out here? Or just outside the Abyss, you mean? Okay, our number 8 is coming up. All right. Let's ride over to the Abyss, which is not so far from here. There were a lot of... Whoa! Shadowed page. How did I miss that?
One by one, the 9 kings abased themselves before their lord and master. For they were Nazgûl, ring-wraiths now, and all marveled at the One Ring's might.
All right. Okay, I totally thought... Because I'd seen another shadowed page not far from the door. Okay, it's fine. Well, that's excellent. It's more than fine. But I still have 6 more. 6 more. And I fear that 3 of those 6 pages have been concealed with evil purpose. Okay. Oh, look, there's the castle I want to go back to. Even less. But that's okay. I don't have to, because I'm going down to the abyss. That's this slope, right? Yeah. With all the drakes I have to avoid. Fire Grims. Let's dismount here. All right. Where are we going? You'd think that dwarves would... Oh, here we go. No, that's just a Robocore. It's like Robocop, but... So... I have no quest for you, so I'm going to leave you for now. Did I already do a quest for him? I know I came down here once already. Oh yeah, it was when I was coming after that Gondorian dude. I don't remember fighting Robocore, but maybe we did. Okay. I think it's probably somewhere around here. Didn't come as far as this. Mordath. No, it doesn't change the map. You have come to the abyss of Mordath. Oh, good. Oh, and I'm supposed to look. You find no evidence that the Firehorns traveled this way, but you suddenly hear a familiar voice nearby. Oh, hey, Gimli. This is a mighty big chasm. Sauron's sorcery must have been holding more than his tower together. So they have not come this way, then? Good. After studying more of Zôreth's notes, Spakorth has learned of a new passage into the dungeons of Barad-dûr. And even better, it is not one of much use to those cultists in the tower. Gimli draws a coil of rope from his belt. Aye, that's right. We're going right down here. If Zôreth's notes were correct, there should be a rocky landing about 20 yards down. If they weren't, well, at least let's find out just how deep this abyss is. Gimli ties the rope around a nearby boulder and tests its strength. Well, are you coming, Gryfflet? I would hate to go on such an adventure by myself. Is the rope going to come off of its own accord? I brought enough rope for both of us, Gryfflet. Let's get down there.
Secrets lie in the depths of the Mordor.
Isn't this where I fought the troll? Or pretty close to it?
And these people will soon know more.
No, just
kind of...
dared imagine.
No, it is it. This is where I fought the troll.
Another dwarf stands.
It's quiet here. If Váskmun and the Firehorns came to this place... Oh, sorry, I was missing the voiceover because I thought it was just a growling in the background. What secrets lie in the depths of the Mordath? The little dwarf king and his people will soon know more than they dared imagine. But what is this? Another dwarf stands upon the threshold. Okay. Right. If Váskmun and the Firehorns came to this place, they did so by another way. Knowing Váskmun, he probably marched his army right up to the gates of Barad-dûr. Well, I just was there. Whatever, it's fine. Ha! There will be no tales of proud dwarves this day, my friend. Váskmun's pride does his folk no good at all. Now, we must find some sign of him or his folk before we are discovered. Okay, no problem. Well, Gimli, we must find the passage into the Mordath. Can I just jump off? I'm good at that. This is Barad-dûr, after all. King Váskmun and his Firehorns may be the least of our concerns. Sure. Well, one of my concerns is that you're here with me, which means you're going to trigger every mob that we face, but... So, up is that way, down is this way. We've come too late? What's wrong? We're coming too slowly in any case, Gimli. What's the issue? The Firehorns have left a trail of dead in their wake. Oh. I thought that was me from before. This was a battle between warriors and would-be scholars. These wicked men stood no chance against the Firehorns. Well, they weren't total wimps, I can tell you. I fought a whole bunch of them before. Are we going to walk this slowly the whole way, Gimli? The Firehorns came this way. Right. Well, yeah, that's the way in, so... And this is the way down, like I said originally, but... Oh, no, okay. We're walking. Search the depths of Barad-dûr for King Váskmun, Greytooth, and the Firehorns. Right. The trail of dead descends deeper into the caverns. Let us see where it leads. Okay, well, that's what I was... Can we run? Oh, good. We can run. Okay. Dead bad guys. More dead bad guys. Yeah, this is where the... Oh, where'd you go, Gimli? There you go. Come on. Here we go. So yeah, so down here is the place where there were like their living quarters and where Váskmun was in prison before. What's the Chamber of the Watchers? What terrible works? You mean like it's really badly constructed? The caverns suddenly grow wider, and you come to a room dwarfed by statues of Sauron and his servants. Was I not supposed to... No, I have to have come here before. I wouldn't have... Váskmun wouldn't have gotten out if I hadn't. But it's like introducing me to it as if I'd never been here before. What's all this? Váskmun and the Firehorns must have come through here, for the trail of dead has led us to this chamber. Look, the passage descends even further. Oh, no, Gryfflet. Don't you dare think I've become jealous. Whatever this place might be, it is no cause of doom. Ah, but something here leaves me uneasy, my friend. Does it seem to you that this statue is looking at us? Because it sure seems so to me. Oh, look at that. Hi. Remnant of Sauron, huh? Begone, dwarf. Dwarf, I am Gimli, son of Glóin, warrior of Durin's folk. And if I mean to enter the Mordath, I will. Yeah, you get him, Gimli. What's he got on his chest? Looks like a candelabra across the front, right? Weird. No, maybe it's just like these rivets that are across the back. You think? No. Okay. The glamour of the one of the benevolent remnant. Sorry. He shall not find the ring he seeks, but he will find the rings that were lost. Hang on, I missed some. I was just a second. Gimli, hang on. The rings that were lost. It's some sort of trap. I think. I suspect so too. Okay, hang on. He said, as it was planned, the dwarf king leads his people into certain doom. He shall not find the ring he seeks, but he will find the rings that were lost. The glamour, one of the malevolent remnants of the Dark Lord, fades into the shadows. Okay. Yeah, I've got a bad feeling about this, Gimli. Some kind of trap? I don't like the sound of this at all. We're going to need more than you or I if Váskmun and the Firehorns went down there, and if you ask me, we shouldn't wait around for those eye-mad cultists to find us either. Let us return to the ruins of Dingarth and tell Legolas and the Stout Axes of what we have learned. Really? We're not going down? I've been down there like 3 times. Okay. We won't. You think we've seen enough? Then we've seen enough. Wow. Hey, I wanted to come back here anyway.
What do you want?
Narcraw has escaped then? Yeah, the evidence very clearly suggests that. This outcome may be the most favorable to all. This outcome may be the most favorable to all. It is very likely that Narcraw will return to his realm in Nan-Ogol, the Fell Vale and the far western reaches of Mordor. He may try to retake his former throne. You asked Lômazar about the creature known as Narcraw. It is difficult to explain in this tongue. He is neither man nor beast. He is both, yet something different. He's a werewolf? Thwarted Glúrgoth, the Hole Warden. Yes, I did.
What?
Have you come to take me out from this place of my certain death, or have you come to tell me only that my words rung true? You explained to Lômazar that he will be taken out of Mordor once the situation in Dor Amarth has improved. It seems I may be dwelling in this company for a time, then. Be warned, it should be known that some of the relics Dol-gabeth pursues are much more powerful than one of your ilk could imagine. You may have thwarted his efforts thus far, but let it be known, hidden objects lie in wait below the fortress of Barad-dûr. Yeah, I've been hearing rumors about that. Okay, Ingold, I am finally done with your quest, which led to 3 enormous quest chains, but I'm almost done.
We are Gondor's eyes and Gondor's swords in this place.
Lômazar has been truthful with us up to this point, Gryfflet. While I have my doubts, it is not impossible that Sauron would have put such thought and effort into collecting many a valuable and powerful relic. You say that you have seen some of these already? Then perhaps we must act sooner than later in preventing the Black Word from finding any more lost trinkets of Sauron. Okay. In exchange for which you give me a trinket. Fine.
Come then.
You have done much to weaken those who serve under the Black Word. If we are to make a stand against those of power in Dor Amarth, now is the time. Speak with Lômazar and see what else he knows. The captive won't say a word to me, but he's taken a liking to you. Yeah. We've established a rapport. Me and Lômazar.
What do you want?
I have nothing else to say. Although, what have you heard of the Ithil-stone? Nothing? Dol-gabeth seeks the powerful Ithil-stone to sway others, just as Sauron had done. For that reason alone, it means much to Dol-gabeth and many others. Ownership of the stone will gain Dol-gabeth many allies in Mordor. Not to mention being extremely convenient. Yeah. Let's look for the Ithil-stone. I am convinced. Let us go to Barad-dûr. We shall scout the area together and plan our attack. Oh. Yeah, I have time. Let's do it.
Under the command of Ingold,
Many in Gondor work to thwart the nefarious plans of Dûrgabeth the Black Word
Yeah.
as he sifts through the ruins of Sauron's defeat.
Seeing Ingold kneeling here on one knee, hiding behind a rock, inevitably, in the midst of an instance, inevitably makes me think of Rangers of the North, right? And any of the dozens of quests in which Gryfflet was teleported into instances where he found Rangers kneeling on one knee behind rocks, right, peeking out at some evil fortress. And that really, so I've been talking throughout Dor Amarth about the ways in which I find the quests in Mordor kind of confusing. This little glimpse here actually kind of helps me understand it a bit, right? That we have been through the Black Gate sequence, right? We have been on the escorting the armies of Gondor flavor of quests, right? Where we're scouting, where we're, finding things that we're scouting, we're investigating, we're flushing out problems, we're seeking out threats while the army proceeds, right? One of the sources of my confusion, uncertainty about the quest lines in Mordor could basically be summarized in the question, where's the army, right? Like, we're told that Aragorn leads his army in here and they kind of clean it out. But then again, he's not here for a prolonged isn't here for a prolonged military campaign. So the situation that we seem to be placed in here is one which seems to be paralleling the Ranger situation in the North, where there are, instead of it being a military-oriented quest, or quest lines, right, where, again, we're scouting and working along with the army of the good guys. Instead, we're accompanying quasi-freelance good guys, right? Mordor as a whole, we're to understand that Mordor as a whole is not a threat anymore. Sauron has fallen, his armies are scattered. So there aren't armies to fight. So Aragorn isn't leading, he's not forcing his armies to stick around and invade Mordor in force. Instead, we have some soldiers and other leaders like Ingold, who was a captain. Everyone will remember, of course, Ingold was the captain of Gondor, who was at the gap in the wall at the north that Gandalf and Pippin met when they came into Minas Tirith at the beginning of Book 5. And of course, we interacted with him a great deal back in the Minas Tirith days, back when he was up there at the gap in the north wall. But anyway, so I guess Aragorn is obviously aware of the lingering threats of the, lieutenants and captains and sergeants of Sauron that have not been evicted yet. So he's not bringing his army in because he wants to let the army go home, and he wants to basically kind of let the war be over. But he is. So what it is like an infiltration in force, basically, I guess. It's still a little bit confusing, but it's kind of becoming a little bit clearer to me. And yeah, Phil, I agree. Ingold, it makes you wonder what everybody else thinks when Ingold just vanishes on this kind of scouting expedition. Yeah, well, I mean, presumably, he has his king's permission and that sort of thing. But, okay. Anyway. Ingold, let's go. Let's do it.
Gondor's eyes and Gondor's swords in this place.
We have made it this far undetected. The path ahead to Barad-dûr will be difficult. What's this? Look ahead, Gryfflet. There seems to be some sort of meeting taking place on the road between us and the ruined tower. You have dealt with some of these foes before. Still, a meeting of Dûrgabeth's minions does not bode well for us. We must attempt to get closer and listen in on their plans, whatever they may be. From there, we should have enough information to devise a proper plan.
Well, that is my speciality, Ingold. Why don't you just leave it to me? Okay. Well, you just, you know, you do your thing. You're the one, like, wearing the bright white cloak, you know, in the middle of that. Okay. Vile Knights. Ooh. Casa-Forza, the Bringer of Tears. And Glúrogoth and Slabakar. Oh. It's all my old friends. The whole trio. The triumvirate back together. Are there their captains? Oh, I'm supposed to listen. Sorry. Now that we have seen the stone, we can assure you the master will be pleased, says a vile knight. You have done well. Where is Dulgabeth? We have spent much time to retrieve the stone. Does the Black Word not care? Humph, says the troll. As we have said before, the Black Word is busy attending to other matters. These are the vile knights, representatives of Dulgabeth. Now you will take the stone into the tower and place it within Dulgabeth's chambers, where it shall remain safe. So they found it? Do not tarry here long, or you will regret challenging the word of Dulgabeth. Now we must leave, for the Black Word calls on our assistance. Off we go. Oh, there it is. Look, it's the Palantir right there. Can I just burglarize it? That would be burglarious. The respect we get is not what we deserve, says Glúrogoth, the whole warden. All right, yeah, let's get to the thwarting. Fear me, beasts. The odds may or may not be. Hey, oh, you've got an AOE, huh? Took me out of stealth. What is this? A Morvul. Oh, it's taking away the stone. Are you in league with these flying filths? Well, no. But let's do this. Whoa. I'm not going to tank you guys. Ingold should be tanking. Oh, come on. Fine. Sabakar's wandering off. Okay. He's feeding on the pain. So, what happened to what's-her-face? To Casa-Forza? You will pay for this intrusion, was the last thing she said? Ingold defeated her. Okay, great. Alright, so we got 2 out of 3. Sapakar wandered off, but... Alright. This certainly did not go as planned, Gryfflet. This is not the fault of either of us. Not a one of us expected those Moraval to descend and snatch the Ithil-stone from us all. Now we must return empty-handed. Our only solace is that we have defeated the Black Word's lieutenants once again. Right, they're the lieutenants of the lieutenant, and so therefore they're the captains. No, doesn't even make sense. Whatever. Come, let us start on the return. Using the word lieutenant in a different sense. So are we going to start running and then we're going to time lapse? I hope. Or is another event going to occur? Are we going to be threatened by the sender of the Morva? Maybe we're going to be taunted? Oh, veer away from the road. Oh, we're not going to listen in or something? That was close. Well, for you, yeah. Good thing you're still running in plain sight. Fortunate that those vile knights don't, like, look around themselves at all. See, no, I don't see anything shining in the distance. Other than the banners on that. I'm not running all the way over there, though. Atop that rock outcropping? Which one? Not seeing anything, Ingold. We're getting back to near the entrance to the abyss, though. Okay. Boy. He must be out of breath by now. What? What? Oh, that rock outcropping? Still not seeing anything. I don't see anything glinting from atop a rock spire.
Hey?
I'm not sure what it is that we're seeing over there atop that rock. The glow is soft, almost elven. Do you suppose it's some sort of weapon? Yes. It might be. We should return swiftly and tell the elves of our company about what we have seen here. Can't we just... We're right here. Don't know. Come on.
Hey?
I cannot identify the weapon we saw at a distance, but murmurs of excitement have swept through the encampment. Perhaps it is best to speak to Ithil about it.
Lômazar's not interested in hearing that 2 of those 3 folks have been slain? He wanted me to thwart Glurgoth, but he doesn't care that I've actually just killed him? Alright, Spakorth, I'll be right back. I gotta talk to the elves, and we gotta pursue this, because I'm pretty sure I know what that is on top of the spire. I have heard the rumors, Gryfflet. If your eyes have not been cruelly deceived, the missing spear of Aiglos may have been discovered. Yes. Legolas has scouted the location of the spear and informed me that it is indeed the lost spear of Aiglos. I understand that you might not share the same enthusiasm as I. Oh, I do. But let it be known to you that this relic is of great pride to all elves. During the Second Age, Gil-galad wielded Aiglos on the slopes of Mount Doom, leading to the defeat of Sauron. I know this, for I was there. Go, speak with my apprentice, Koldon. He should hear the news. Also, I would like you and Legolas to retrieve the spear. Okay. Happy to do so. Wouldn't the Spears of Lindon be interested in this particular quest? Does Ingold have another quest? Oh my gosh, he has 3. Wait, one is a vector quest.
We are Gondor's eyes and Gondor's swords in this place.
I have heard tales of crawling things in the Morgai. Scuttling venomous creatures roam through the valley. Some have recently spotted large spiders along the Morgai's ridge. I fear these horrid spiders are becoming bolder as they explore areas near the Valley of Lingris. Okay. Sure.
Hey.
Have you seen the Easterling raiding parties that come from the south? Another vector quest. When first they set foot in Dor Amarth, they were simply content with hunting game. Now they are more emboldened and look to pillage. We should send these men back to the south before they strike up the courage to plunder our small outpost here on the plain. Ah, hat. Yes. Finally. I haven't gotten a new hat since Minas Tirith. So, these are not actually vector quests. They are... or they're sort of vector quests. They're like setups for the next chapter, though.
Hey.
If you have a moment, I must discuss something with you. Our provisions have begun to run low. We must not let hunger be the end of this expedition. I need anyone who is able to hunt the beasts that roam Dor Amarth. Lômazar has assured me that the dire horns are edible, and the sulokil are rather good when cooked and seasoned. Seriously? That's what we get. This is what we get at this point? Gather meats? That's it, gather meats. That's my instruction. How many meats am I meant to be gathering? Seriously? We come this close to finishing the quests in this region and I'm meant to hunt creatures randomly? Couldn't you have done that at the very beginning? It's fine.
I have seen the spear with my own eyes.
Not that I disbelieved you, but you understand it is hard to believe. When you are ready to depart, we shall venture again to the site of Aiglos. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, wait, I gotta talk to what's-his-face. The junior assistant to Ithil here. Excuse me, where are you? Where'd he go? Is he not here? Wait, which quest is that? The Lost Spear. Where's Koldon? Did they tell me where he was? I thought, because they didn't mention a location, I assumed that he was right here. I'm confused. I'm very confused. Is he going to be over there? There isn't a ring for him. I don't see a green quest ring anywhere. The Udûn Foothold? Oh, really? Weird. I think they'd have tipped me off to that. Did I just miss it? It's possible. Hey, look, it's Gimli with his new Stout Axe friends that we liberated. Hey, Stable Master, I guess I go back to the Udûn Foothold, which I would not, by the way. Did they say he was out there? I'm so confused. Because, yeah, it would have taken me forever to just come here on my own. Is he out here? This guy up here? Dude, I'd have been looking around for like months before I thought to look way up here. Ridiculous.
What can I do for you?
You relay the information to Koldon. I cannot believe these words. To think this relic and pride of elves has been recovered. I know what I must do then. I shall depart at once and inform those in Lothlorien of this news. Okay. I didn't expect you to do that. But all right. Where do I have this set? Hey, the Ruins of Dingarth. I don't actually even have to use one of my bajillion mithril coins. Okay. That was super weird. Am I just supposed to have remembered that there's an elf named Koldon standing there looking out over the... I do not approve. Okay.
There are matters we must attend to.
You've spoken to Koldon? Yes, I have. No thanks to you. He has decided to depart and take this news to Lothlorien. While I do not blame him for his excitement, I do wish that Koldon had consulted me first. My young apprentice has much to learn. I assume you have also spoken to Legolas. He shares my impatience to retrieve Aiglos and remove it from Mordor. A scout has returned, claiming others have caught sight of Aiglos and are gathering round it. None have attempted to scale the rock and retrieve the spear. Instead, it seems they are worshipping it. You must depart with Legolas. These men of Mordor know not the elvish ways. I wish you both luck in recovering Aiglos. May you have swift and safe travels. Ah, disorder of the eye. Okay. Oh dear.
What? Disorder of the Eye, return to the spot. Well, shoot. Well, if you're going to be that way, I'll talk to Spakorth and get his next quests.
Sauron took everything from us, and then he took more.
So Váskmun has led them into the Mordath and into a trap laid by Sauron himself? The Order of the Eye has sent many of its number into the black pits in... Sorry, this is the wrong voice. The Order of the Eye has sent many of its number into the black pits in search of the hidden vault, and now Váskmun and the Firehorns have traveled there. Is this the making of a new war for Mordor? Or had Sauron worked to ensure that he did not fall alone? Perhaps it is neither. Whether it is this day or another, Váskmun and the Firehorns must be freed from their delusions. He leads them down a treacherous path, and I do not think whatever is in that vault shall set all to rights. But in the meantime, my folk will keep a close watch on the abyss. When the time comes, we hope that you and Gimli will stand with us against whatever evils lurk in the Mordath.
Dude, what is going on? I didn't even follow that. Because he's confused. I'm confused. Okay, Gimli. You're our only hope. Gimli, tell me what we should do. This circuitous quest line has led to a strange end, or non-end.
We have done a good thing for these dwarves, Gryfflet. If they had rescued Váskmun themselves, as Zôreth had hoped, I do not believe it would be any different. Perhaps worse, but certainly not better. It is a sorry fate that Sauron devised for Váskmun, and I refuse to abandon hope that he still might be freed from the ring's influence. If that day should come, we must honor the dwarves who fell in service of their king. We must honor those whose blood was spilled to ensure the freedom of the dwarves of Mordor. Spakorth and those who still call themselves Stout Axes have sworn oaths to keep watch on the lands of Dor Amarth while our friends and allies remain here, and once that is done, I shall escort them to Erebor myself.
Once what is done? To watch the lands of Dor Amarth while our friends and allies remain here? Right, and then they'll go to Erebor. Sure. Gimli bows deeply before you. You have done me and the dwarves of Mordor a great honor. But are we not finishing the thing? I guess it'll come in later. Not going to sweat it. Okay, hang on. I got some... hang on. Let me check this. Jewelry. Is this an upgrade? Yeah, I'll fix that later. I'm not so worried about the jewelry cosmetics, but... Alright. We're going full invader gear. Which looks exactly the same. Blast it. It did not have, as Sam would say. Well, I can't pretend to be surprised. But now I have still my ancient hat. I have expedition, so... But I just found... I'm still confused. Well, invader, expedition... I guess it's all interchangeable gear anyway, Legolas. Gryfflet, I have seen something terrible along the road to Durthung. A few spiders scuttled too near the ruins from Lingris, and I was reminded at once of Mirkwood and the tales of my father Thranduil. In an age now past, he battled against a terrible spider, itself only a child of one even greater, the great spider queen Ungwitari. So, I remember that from the High Elf intro sequence, right? It has been over 3,000 years since my father heard her terrible name spoken by one of the Nazgûl, but I fear a creature so terrible and so near to the lands of the enemy had strength enough to persist long beyond the years of men. I must go into Lingris and seek the source of the evil within the Ithil-stone. If you wish to join me, I shall wait for a time near the road to Durthang, but do not tarry over long. I know, like lots of Lingris vectors. I'm going. I'm trying to finish things up here, so I guess we're done. I guess the Stout Axe questline's finished. So fine. Fine. No problems. Oh dear. But I'm out of time. All right. Well, I've been pushing my luck vis-a-vis the power for a long time. Oh, hang on. Hithgol, what do you have to say now? I have to tell you, like, I'm a little bit not disappointed exactly, but like my quests were like all closing up, and it looked like I was like one step away from ending, and now it's like broadened out again. Look at this. I'm into the white quest rings again. Ah, well. Okay. Oh, hey, Sparhawk. I don't know anything about anything. I don't work for Standing Stone. I'm just a Tolkien guy playing the game. So, I'm afraid I can't help you. Somebody here might be able to, but I can't. Sorry. Okay. So all of these... All right, that's a Lingris quest officially. So I'm going to take it out until we get to Lingris. The ones that are labeled Dor Amarth quests, I'll finish. Okay, so next time we're gonna find Aiglos. We're gonna hunt for meats. We're gonna do the like quasi vector quests, and then, by golly, we're gonna find the last 6 pages. That's what's going to happen next time. So I think that next time we are we're going to actually finish Dor Amarth. That's my fearless prediction. But next time we'll be... Oh, hang on. I didn't actually talk. Let me talk to Ithgol here. You have been of great help to us. When you have done all that you wish in Dor Amarth, which is so close now, I ask that you aid others in our company. Some have gone ahead of us, and will surely seek assistance, as the lands beyond here are neither welcoming nor hospitable. Speak to them when you have a moment. A small group has recently headed towards Talith Urui, and your friend Legolas is about to venture into Lingris. I am sure your companionship would be most welcome. Boy, like, yeah. I'm getting vectored like nobody's business round here. Okay, right? You already vectored me.
I was just about to depart.
Yeah, I know. I already got Legolas's vector. Who's the next guy? Bregdo? Wasn't he here somewhere? Where'd he go? He's probably back in the Udûn Foothold. Oh no, he's down there. Right. Okay. Fine. Fine. Okay. So another semi-vector quest, but they are like really determined that I don't miss the fact that I'm supposed to go one of these two ways. All right, so I've got vector quest, the reading, vector quest, pages meets Aiglos. Yep, okay, getting close. All right, so that's what we'll do. So next time, we're going to finish Dor Amarth and find the missing pages. That's what we're gonna do. So, and then we're gonna head to Lingris. We're gonna do Lingris and then Talith Urui in that order, because that's the order of the chapters in the Black Book. Okay. Very good. Thanks everybody for joining me. As I said at the beginning, I'm not going to be here next week, unfortunately, because I'm going to be en route to San Diego for SoCal Moot, which is going to be great fun. So looking forward to SoCal Moot in 2 weeks. So I won't be here then, but I should be here the week after that. So in 2 weeks, I'll be back, and then I think I'll have 2 weeks in a row. So in March here, as we approach Gondorian New Year, we will finish Dor Amarth and head off into Lingris. So we'll doubtless be celebrating Gondorian New Year surrounded by giant spiders. And won't that be fun? All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. Stay tuned for Druid's Fire, and I'll see you guys in a fortnight. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.